friend, it's Pat Sloan, and it is Block Wednesday. Block Wednesday, what's in your closet? So we have what's in your closet. We are going to talk about the March Block a Day quilt, which starts on Friday. Friday, my friend, Friday. And maybe time for Q&A. We'll see. Okay, what's in your closet? Suits and ties. This is a classic quilt block. I believe it's often called a rosebud block. And so I love it for the suits and ties to add into our sampler. So, you know, some of you have worn suits and ties. Some of you have worn just suits. And they are part of the staple of many wardrobes for many different reasons. Also, ties are used so often to make spectacular quilts. They are just lovely. So I would like to see some of your quilts made with ties if you have it. And way back, people made quilts with suiting fabric. There would be samples come from the factories and people would get those and make suits out, I mean not suits, but make quilts out of suit fabrics. Very cool. Wool quilts often, and suit wool is very soft and drapable. If you remember the suits that you've had, pants and jackets, I mean, they have to be soft and drapable. Wool skirts for ladies' suits if you wore a skirt with your suit. Okay, so I also have the block on the page for those that don't read, and the repeat. In repeat, I just put it side by side. I think it's a really easy block to do side by side because you're not matching points to points. You're just matching in basic intersections. And also, I think it'd be great with a bunch of scrappy fabric. That one I would like to see done up. I like to see them all. You know that. I like to see them all. All right, so we're going to go look at some fabric for this. It is down on the bottom under the big block. That's where number 5 goes. But you know, the 12-inch blocks, if you wait a while, and you can then move yours around. They don't have to go where I put them on the diagram. You have freedom of moving blocks around. But if you like to get them sewn in sections, like I would like to start, once I get Stronger Together done, I will start sewing this, but Stronger Together has to be done first, and then I will start sewing this unit together. I have the sashing fabric that we talked about last Wednesday, so I've got that. Okay, let's go to the other side. So I want to bring some light blue into that section under that great big first block. So let's see what we have here. So here's the block again. Position is right here under the big block, and remember I'm going to have that sort of this blue with the cream, these two along here, and then I don't know what the sashings will be, but all the checkerboards will be these two fabrics. So I don't want to use that blue that much. I'll use it maybe occasionally, but I want to use some of the other blues. So I have a couple kind of 2 ways to go. I could do the larger portion with this lighter blue, and then do the tips with this paisley. So, you know, out here like that, which would give it a really, really light blue down there. Or if I wanted to keep it a little darker, then I could do this guy, right? And then the tips in the blue. And so I'm debating back and forth, because if I were going to do like a whole quilt of these, I could put, you know, take like maybe all the blues and do variations, and then move them all around so that there was just a bunch of variations of the blue fabrics in the line. I think that would be super cool. Maybe popping in some tans or something like that. I mean, I could put in some tans. I could, but let's see. I don't know. I don't think I want to do the tan. No, I don't want to do that. Here's got the blue on black, which reads darker. See, these are 2 different ones. This is all my drawing room fabric. So this has got the blue, this has got the black. But I don't think I need to make it darker. I think what I'm going to do is I really want to have some lightness there in this position. I want to have some lightness in this position under here. So I'm going to do the big squares in the light blue and then the little squares in the darker paisley. So I'll get that all cut and sewn up. Here are the block pieces laid out. This is actually symmetrical, so you only have to focus on one quadrant. And let me show you this. I am going to pick everything up and put it in one quadrant. So you can just stack them like this and do all four and sew them exactly the same way. So I'm going to pick these two up, they go right here. Pick these two up, they go right here. These two, they go right there. So there you go. So you just have this one unit to make 4 times. So let's sew it. Remember to sew these with the half square triangles on the top so that you can see where the intersection is, versus sewing from this side where you're sewing blind. You don't have to sew from this side. Just flip it over and sew where you can see that intersection. Then you don't chop off your points. Here's the stack of 4 blocks. I'm going to show you. They're all identical. All identical. Didn't change anything, so it's easy sew. Now to do the block, you're going to take them and rotate a quarter turn, and then, whoops, another quarter turn, 2 quarter turns, and 1, 2, 3. Here you go. So they're all the same block, and now we have the pattern, and I'll sew them up, and we'll see how they look with the others. See how this looks with the others. Suits and ties ready to add to our collection of quilts in our closet of blocks. What's in your closet? Suits and ties. I don't know. Some of you don't have those anymore, do you? So it goes over here. Ta-da! And on my website today, I will do a straight on. And so that brings all that light blue over there, which I really like. I wanted to bring those colors over there. And I did do one little 3 patch of the checkerboard already, just to get that started. I have some cut ready to go, and I got to cut that up there. Okay, so we have some blocks from last week of yours. Let's take a look. We're going to kick off with wearing a vest to the beach with Arlene's block. She's got the yachts here. This was our vest block from What's in Your Closet. Kathy's is really awesome. Look, her Aliso iron matches the orange on her, I think it's called persimmon. Wonderful. Love that fancy fabric you're using. Christie's is beautiful blues. They look like summer blues. We've got some butterflies, some flowers. This is going to be spectacular. Connie has some really amazing fabrics. Take a look at these. She has what looks like border prints with the dragonfly, some bigger scale. Look at the log cabin block in the upper right, some of that fabric. I can't wait to see how this comes along. Dania's has all of hers in the 12-inch size, rocking some grays and greens. That's a color combination I don't think I've ever made. I love it. Diane has pretty in pink with pink and black polka dots. You cannot go wrong. Cannot. Laverta has another with, looks like light teal and then a dark teal. Do you see how it gets that shadowy kind of effect with the light and dark of the same color family? I love that. Our ambassador Melissa has her crazy bears. They look awesome. And the birch tree fabric. Just wonderful. Michelle has green and browns. And I'm not sure what that outer fabric color is. It could be a green tone, like an olivey green, or it could be a gray. Looks really, really good. Paula has orange and greens, which look very, very summer. Just that citrusy colors. So good. So very good. Let's see, where we got? Peggy's here with the reds, lots of reds, some pops of green, and just wonderful. Love those colors. We've got Shirley's. She is also using, it looks like the same fabric or fabric family in some of the blocks. Peaches and teals, dark teals, medium teals. This is amazing. Really love it. Stacy is gorgeous. She's getting her sashings on. Look at that. Look how well that looks. And I love there's a little rainbow fabric. Bottom left block, you can see the rainbow fabric. Oh, so cute. Val's is beautiful. She has soft peachy greens and just gorgeous. Now here we have, this is not this block, one of the prior blocks, Joe did the scarf block, And look at her helper. Just look at that helper sitting there. I love it. Love it, love it. And I'm going to show you mine from the solstice, my vest block, which wasn't called the vest block in the solstice, but there it is, where I had red and white, and I have a novelty print. Thank you, everybody, for sewing along. There are always loads more blocks at our Quilt Along with Pat Sloan site at Facebook. Also, go visit Kendall Taylor. Those of you who enjoy really seeing the whole block done, Kendall's videos are wonderful. He walks through everything. He also does other videos for his own projects. So you want to be sure you're subscribed to Kendall's channel. The link is in the description box below and at my website today, right under where you download the pattern. Okay. So let's talk about the block a day for March. You want to download this. You can either do it from the project page or at my article again today. I'll put it in there again. And I want to simulate this in a way. You can do two things. You could have this polka dot. I've talked about this the other day, but I'll just do that part briefly. You can carry the polka dot through from the outer triangles. You know, well, you can see them on the sides, outer triangles in like this, so that this block floats. That means some of your blocks are going to be identical that you're doing on a daily basis, which means some of you will probably power sew a few of those. You're not going to just do one a day. So you may actually not work on this as a daily thing, and you can work on it however you like, but that's how I will kind of present this. And when I have a video, I will show you the days. So I think I am going to simulate this as well. And so I needed a dot. I needed a dot and a color palette. So let me just show you some dot options so that you could think about it, because you don't have to do, that you have to hunt. Dots come and go, and there are some that are out there for a while, and then all of a sudden, you can't find that color, etc. So here's one that's green. So if you were doing this one, it would read a lot of green. Although whatever border you put on, it would help change the color of the quilt. So that could be, you could do green, you could do it with, you could do purples with this. That would be so cool. You could do black with this, gray with this, yellow, black, yellow, green, and that would be really cool. So here's a darker blue. I only have a small piece of this one. Here's a darker blue. This dot is also super amazing. So these are the two sort of darker options I have to show you to think about. You can just think, you don't have to do a light dot background. Here's one's medium. This medium blue is something I was thinking about. This was one of the options I was thinking about. I don't know that I'm going to do that now. I'm pretty sure I'm not, because I found another dot that I liked. But this is really good. You could do this very Americana, red, white, and blue. You could just do a lot of navies with it. Maybe some pops of a green in there. So here's some lights. Here's an aqua, and these are big. See, I like this sort of big dot because that simulates the original quilt. Here's one dot that's a little bit smaller in aqua, and then this is what I'm going to use. I am going to use this one that I found, and I'll link you to dots at the Fat Quarter Shop. Of course, they don't stay long. Dots tend to get snapped up, particularly if they're from a fabric line. This was from a fabric line, and if it's still there, I'll link you to it, because I did buy this a week or so ago, just a week or so ago. Okay, so what I am going to work with is my Paradise Park and this red, white, and blue polka dot. So I have all of my Paradise Park fabric. So this is my early cuts. Now, if you didn't want dots, I wanted to show you on Paradise Park. You could use this in place where the polka dots are there. You could use something that's like this. It reads a tonal. It doesn't read solid. It's got a design on it, and there's also in Paradise Park a blue version. Both of these would be amazing, or you could find other fabrics that have that kind of look to put there. Okay, so that is one way that you can approach it. And I will be using Paradise Park with these dots, which means my alternates will be dots. Like half of my blocks I will be putting, I don't know whether I'll put pink in there or red from Paradise Park in the center. I'm thinking blue for this part, then maybe red centers, maybe pink where the stripe is, and maybe light blue where the green is. You know, I haven't really decided. In the past, I always did sort of novelty prints. This one, you could still do novelty prints. You could do novelty prints in the centers of everything, and you could make these a whole novelty print, so it'd be like a really different looking quilt than mine if you didn't have the dots pulling pulling everywhere. Like, it's kind of like the blocks are laying on the dots when you have it set up like this. Okay, so this will be fun because it's a little bit different, which I'm going to enjoy. And I already have a block picked out for 2025, which will be more like we did in the prior year. So it'd be really fun to do something a little different and work with my Paradise Park, since this fabric line just came in and I haven't had a chance to really sew anything with it yet. So, yay! Okay, now we're gonna switch gears. A little Q&A to wrap up. So these are all from YouTube. The first question, I didn't write the name down, but somebody asked, on these bags that C&T does, they put 2 handle sizes. You've got the short handles and the longer handles. And those are, so it tells you, shoulder handles. So if you like to carry your tote bag on your shoulder, and then the short handles for, if you're going to be walking like this, because then if you're, see, so it's down like here. Super cute, right? Super cute. So this is the Barn Stars. So adorable, so adorable. All right, what else do we have? These are all ones that that I can answer without like drawing or making things or whatever. So this is from Joyce. What presser foot do I use to sew on my sashing? The exact same foot that I use for sewing patchwork. I use my 1/4 inch foot. I don't change the foot because I need to have a 1/4 inch. So it's a 1/4 inch foot. Connie, I wanted to know what color is the off-white that I use, the off-white thread that I use from Orfil, which is in the machine right now. It's in here. It's 2000. It's number 2000. It's a basic. Link is in the description box under the video where you find all the other good things. I got to get this off of here so I can read them a little easier. Bifocals. Paula wanted to know what comes first, the chicken or the egg? When you're thinking about a project to do next, do you start with a fabric bundle and then decide what quilt you're going to design or make with that bundle? Or do I start with a quilt pattern and then decide what fabric goes in it? I do both. If I've designed a fabric line, or if I see a great fabric line I want to use, I will, then go and find a pattern that works for it, just like you would. If I have a pattern that I see, then like I really want to make that pattern, then I need to go find the fabric that I want to make the pattern in. It's a variety. It's both ways. You can't. I don't think anybody works in one way because you are inspired by different things. You might be inspired by the fabric, or you might be inspired by a pattern. Cindy says when using directional binding. When using diagonal binding, is there extra stretch? I don't notice any extra stretch. I don't use diagonal binding all the time, but whenever I do, I don't find any extra stretch myself. So I don't have any problem with it. Try it. What's it going to hurt to try it? Just try it once. Thelma wanted to know, if I make a quilt with 4 or 5 fabrics, how do you decide what colors and patterns will go together? So that's kind of interesting. I can't really answer that because I never think like that. I don't say, I have 4 fabrics or 5 fabrics, now what am I going to do with them? I don't think like that. I think in a much, much larger number of fabrics. I don't count them. A fabric bundle, like a bundle, fat quarter bundle, like a set of fabric from a fabric line might be 20 to 30 pieces. I would never really go and get 5 fabrics and then try to find a pattern. It just isn't how my brain works at all. I don't restrict myself down to that few fabrics for the most part. Sometimes there might be a pattern like this one might have about that many, but it isn't that I picked those fabrics first. I had this pattern and then I went looking for fabrics. And there probably actually might be a few more than that because of all the different oranges and all the different grays. If you're going to use the same oranges and same grays, then you're probably down to 4 or 5. But I don't pick the fabric first for something like this. The first came the design that I designed, and then I'm like, well, what colors do I want to use? How do I want to present this? How do I want to think about it? Let's go find some fabric that works for that vision that I have that I want to do right now. And it can change from time to time. As I work on things, I might, who knows? How I think is just like what happens for that quilt. That's what I guess that's what I'm trying to say. For that quilt, it is not something I do for everything. Every single quilt has its own way that I approach it, which is answering that question from above as well. Okay, my friends. Now, remember, Friday we start March block a day, and so you want to get into your stuff and figure out what you're going to do, because this quilt's a little bit more figuring than if you were just doing a bunch of 9 patches or something. There's a little bit more figuring, so get that going. And you are going to make suits and ties, our block for this week for what's in your closet. So I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.